Hello, thank you for looking in on my video. So today's the anniversary of the start of the lockdown 5 years ago, and in the section below is a copy of a live broadcast that I made a few days into lockdown. It starts with me mucking about with an emu, but bear in mind I was at the time, or recently been, a care home entertainer, and I was not only communicating with the general public, but I was also trying to keep in contact with some of my ex-service users in the care homes and in the groups, the community groups that I used to work with, because following leaving the probation service, I set up my own business and I became a specialist entertainer with people with dementia. And I used to go around in the community and quite a lot of care homes. And I used to do reminiscence sessions. I used to interview people, and quite often I published a little newsletter telling their stories. I did this free of charge, actually, the letter bit. I had a nominal charge for my entertainment. And something I did free of charge was I made occasional films for a care home, and I did mock radio shows which I put on a CD. Again, I did that free of charge. So along came the pandemic, and I actually stepped up my support for the care homes. I went round with entertainment packs that like gifts from me, with the little radio shows, little film clips. And I was playing around with this YouTube to see if I could communicate with the care homes. But cut a long story short, I kind of fell out with the main chain of care homes that I work with, and it kind of felt that they couldn't care less about me. So, and some of their staff who work really hard in the care homes, I hasten to add. And that kind of lack of care for people, even though they're in the care business, really saddened me. And in the early days of the pandemic, there was a rush in the supermarkets, and that upset me too. But so my whole life was turned upside down, and my main income had gone. So I had to turn my hand to something else, and I started doing deliveries for a company, and I used my own car, not particularly well paid, and it was the gig economy, which is pretty awful, actually, the gig economy. But having said that, though, I actually really enjoyed getting out and about, and my YouTube below describes what it was like to go around, be one of the few people out on the roads during the lockdown, and what it was like to deliver. And I talk about some of the people I met and so on. Pretty grim to start, but I ended up really enjoying myself and making lots of friends. I did the same streets every day pretty much, so often I was the only point of contact that people had of the outside world when they were stuck in lockdown. And I really felt for some of these people. There was a lady with mental health problems, and she later filled in a survey for her mental health hospital and described me as being the only contact she had with the outside world for quite a number of months. And but she was grateful for it, so that was nice. And I remember mums, pregnant mums, being all at home on their own and being quite fearful of catching COVID, and I really felt for them as well. There were children. I remember some families having real problems with children out of control at home, but they were quite fun. And having talked about, I kind of approached the local radio station and told them about my mock broadcasts I'd done with the care homes, and I ended up having my own little radio show. And I used to interview people, mostly over the internet, online, and I used to made these recordings of my radio shows, and I'd send them in. And quite often I used to get children to tell me jokes on the doorstep. There was one young lad I made radio shows with, and he went on to get an award later for his broadcasting, so I was well pleased. And indeed, I did a radio show with a vicar as well, which was, and I'm not a particularly religious person, but I became friends with this vicar who was brilliant. So out of a bad situation for me came good in the end. But do have a look at this YouTube below, because it kind of explains some of the tough times that we were going through, and some of the sadness I felt really about it. So hopefully it will bring back memories for you. This vividly bring back memories for you of what lockdown was like for you. Anyway. Thank you, and do share your experiences in the comments section. I shall be really pleased to hear from you. All the very best now. Cheerio. Bye-bye.